round of applause for her, please. Keep clapping so she gets here. Hi, Buchi.
Hi. Hi. Hello, everybody. Okay. Okay, so my name is Buchi. Okay, let me just tell you for something, right? I've been speaking at a lot of deaf but I'm very nervous. I don't know why, but I'm feeling nervous. Okay, so today I'll be speaking about the web, and I'm going to be dividing my session into three. The first thing I'll be talking about today is web APIs and web capabilities. And then the next thing I'll be talking about would be the future of the web and the future of web development. And then the last session would be a Q&A. So I need a timekeeper. I need someone that can just help me tell me when it's like 30 minutes past, and then we can move to the next session. Okay, thank you so much. So when I get to 1:34, just inform me so I can move to the next thing. So now today we'll be looking at the baseline project. We'll be looking at static sites to progressive sites. We'll be looking at the web APIs and Project Fugu, capabilities of the web with web APIs, capabilities of the web with web assembly and AI. Then also would learn about the 6 web APIs and how they advance the web. So now, web APIs and web capabilities. How many people know what Project Fugu is? How many people have heard of the term Project Fugu? Who knows what Project Fugu is? Nobody here knows what Project Fugu is. Okay, who knows how to speak Japanese? Who speaks Japanese? Even though it's the nyonchon, the small ones. Who knows how to speak Japanese? Who knows how to speak Dutch? Okay, one person, at least. So who knows the meaning of fugu? Nobody. All right, so that's where I'm going to start from. Now, I have known fugu for quite a while, and I'm going to be explaining what Project Fugu is. However, Project Fugu is an avenue whereby web developers are able to contribute to web APIs and contribute to advancing the web. However, now the meaning of fugu is fish. Fugu is a fish in Japanese. But you'd ask, like, what's the correlation between fish and fugu? So I had an opportunity to speak with some of the, the founders of Project Fugu. And since nobody here speaks Japanese, I'm just going to tell you what it is. Now, Project Fugu, it's like I already explained, it's an effort to improve the web by creating more APIs for the web. However, Fugu means fish. Now, you might think that what's the correlation between Fugu and web APIs and web capabilities? The first thing is that Fugu is a fish that can expand. Fugu is a fish that is very, very delicious. However, Fugu is very poisonous if you do not prepare it well. Now, the idea of progression on the web means that the web is expandable. The capabilities of the web are expandable. The second thing is that if web APIs are not built with the utmost security and privacy, it can be extremely dangerous and poisonous. Now that's how the name Fugu came about. All right, so the next thing, next slide. Now the next thing I want to just talk about quickly is something called the baseline project. The baseline project is It's it's still everything I'm going to be talking about today is on the web, right? Now the baseline project is still an effort by web developers at Google to ensure that for every new feature that comes out on the web, you are aware. So now this baseline project, so wherever it is that is released, recently there was this new API that was released. It's called the Wake Screen API. And the Wake Screen API, the only way you could find out that the Wake Screen API is available, first and foremost, you find out via the baseline project. Secondly, you find out via web.dev. And there's something called available, widely available, and not available. If a feature on the web is newly available, it means that that feature has just been created and not all browsers can accommodate it. So if you see a feature now that says on the baseline and it says newly available, it might be available on Chrome, on Edge, on Firefox, on Safari, but any other browser might not have it. That's what it means to be newly available. However, widely available means that these APIs or features are available on all browsers. Okay, next please. Yes, so these are just a few of features that can be found via web.dev and baseline. Now, I don't know if this is clear. So can you guys see my screen? Can you see this? So yes. Now this thing means that it is currently available via the baseline, and this means that it is available on Chrome, on Edge. These browsers shows that whichever feature this is, and I think this is the Wake Screen API, it is available on these browsers. Now, how the web has evolved over the years. Okay, how the web has evolved over the years. I know that a lot of you know, I don't know, for people that started using the web very, very early, or not even, maybe before, let me just say a very long time ago, right? The web was just seen as a static site, in the sense that the only thing you could do on the web was you were not able to browse. It was just a display screen. So the only thing you could do on the web was to read information. The way you go to your notice board in school and they show you something, or they display an information, or they show you your exam results. That was the whole idea. In fact, that was the initial idea of the web. However, the web has evolved over the years from being a static read-only web pages to becoming information-centric and interactive, and then to becoming decentralized. Now, the web has become very diversified. And I know that how many people know about Web 5? See, I'm expecting a lot from you people. Don't know Project Fugu, you don't know Web 5. How many people know Web 5? Put your hands well, boldly. Be proud, be proud. Okay, so you know that there's Web 5, right? And it's no more Web 3 and Web 4. Okay. Now, the web has moved from just being static to being information-centric, interactive, and then so when it was information-centric alone, it meant that it was very centralized. Just a few persons, a few organizations had full control over the web. However, right now, the web is not totally decentralized, but a part of the web is decentralized, which means that as individuals, you can also have access to the web, regardless of, you don't necessarily need to go through various, you don't necessarily need to go to those organizations that the web was initially centralized around. So now that's one of the reasons it is called decentralized. It's no more around a certain number of organizations or groups. All right. Now, I will just go through, this is not what I'm going to be doing today, but I'm just going to rush through it because it's going to help us to understand what I want to talk about. Now, progressive web apps. How many people know what progressive web apps are? Ah, thank God. At least you would know for my hand this time. uh So you guys know what progressive web apps are. So it means that I can actually skip out, like I'll not really take time on this area. So progressive web apps, right? It's it's really just ensuring that the web becomes less limited. So when we say that the web is progressive, it means that it has moved from point A to point B to point C, and it does not just stop at point C, but it keeps moving to the next point. So remember I talked about Project Fugu, and I also talked about the different aspects of the web, like moving from being static to to being accessible and interactive. Now, one of the reasons why the web is progressive, I know that a lot of people know what progressive web apps are, but do you know why exactly does the web continually remain progressive? Like, what exactly makes the web progressive? It's not only in its offline capabilities, and it's not only in its ability to store information. So why exactly is the web continuously progressive? So I just need a random answer. Random answer. Why is the web continuously progressive? Okay, please, just scream it. So she said because people contribute to it continuously. In what way? So I was saying that in what way do people contribute to it? Sorry? Okay, open source. How? What kind of contributions? That's what I'm trying to know. Sorry? This was your name. Carrie's my what? Sorry, Karen. I don't know. I wish I had a gift now. Shall I just give Karen? She said something very important. Say it again. Okay, via what kind of APIs? Okay, so a lot of people know what web APIs are, right? Okay, what are web APIs? Anybody can. I don't want the answer to come from here. Let me move to this side. And there's something that I usually do when I'm having sessions. If I'm having a session and I see you pressing your phone, if you're not taking pictures of me and you're pressing your phone, I'll call you out. Come and join me on this stage. So I've been peeping since. I've not caught anybody. Hi, you guys. I don't say, you know that word, there's one word I say, I'm like, hi. Anyway, Sha, I'm just peeping to see if there's someone that will be pressing phone. So you just come and join me and help me to continue. All right, so she mentioned that via web APIs. So what are web APIs? Okay. He said they are tools that help you access capabilities of the web. Okay, yes, you're correct, but I need another answer. Web APIs. Sorry? Still, there's no wrong answer. Oh. You wanted to say something? Somebody wants to say something. What are web APIs? Okay.
Hello. So basically, API is basically application interface. App gets information input from the front end to the back end, gets information from the database back to the front end.
Okay. So he said he defined what APIs are. They are like middlewares, like someone would always say, right? But what are web APIs? No, I'm not okay, wait. Are web APIs REST APIs? Are web APIs REST APIs? Okay, someone said no. It's my friend that still said no. I've made one friend. Her name is Karen. All right, how? Tell me.
There are no wrong answers, right?
There's not at all. Everything is correct.
Okay, so I would say that web APIs are like standards that people come together to work on, and they use these standards to base off, browsers, APIs for. So when you're building applications, you're writing JavaScript, like front-end code, you're writing JavaScript, you're interacting with browser APIs. So I would say that those are the APIs that you're referring to, but I don't know. No wrong answers.
There are no wrong answers. Okay, you want to say something? I'm still coming to your answer. You wanted to say something? Someone at the back. And there's someone at the back too.
So APIs are just application programming interface, right? So a web API will be an API that is that allows developers to access web services.
Okay.
So it will be based on just web services.
Okay, I'll still come back to your answer. Then the last person, the guy on black shirt.
So basically, web APIs are web application programming interfaces that give web browsers access to the World Wide Web. For examples of web API, when you're developing a JavaScript, is the geolocation API that gives the server the IP address or geolocation of the browser.
All right, so the last person from there, just scream it. Because of time, just scream what your answer is.
There are tools or protocols that helps the browser to communicate with the web pages.
Sorry?
Tools or protocols that helps the browser to communicate with the web pages.
Where are they found?
Where?
How do you use them? How do you get them to use?
Do
you import them? Do you purchase them? How do you get them? How can I get a web? Maybe that's the question. How do I get a web API?
They are open source.
He said they are open source. So, Karen, how do we get the web APIs? Just say it. You don't need a mic. Okay, just scream your... There's only 3 people that are talking in this session. Brethren. Sorry? Just scream it. How do we get it? Do I have to purchase it? Do I have to import it? Just say it. Say it. Okay, so he said you get it from the backend developer. We're doing a poll now. We're getting it from the backend developers. We have to buy them externally, and we can get them directly from the browsers. We're getting them from backend developers. Let me see your hands. We're getting them from there's no. You must answer one. As in, we're getting them from backend developers. Let me see your hands. Only one person that said we're getting them from backend. Hey. Okay. We're getting them externally, like we have to purchase them from backend developers. Online. Let me see your hands. We're getting them from open source. Let me see your hands. They just appear on our browsers normally. Like, let me see your hands. Okay. See, what's him? You're my friend now. After the session, meet me. Okay, so everybody's correct. However, the actual answer is that you get them directly from the browsers. Now, that is the major difference between web APIs and REST APIs and all the other kind of like SOAP and the rest of them. So for REST APIs and SOAP and any other format, you usually get data. You have to get the data, right? You have to impute the data. But for web APIs, they are instructed in your browser. So now, I just want to point out a few things here. I've seen someone that is pressing phone. He's sitting down here in this side, and he's wearing a black top. There are buttons here. The brother is here. I don't call his name, but he knows himself. Okay. So, like I was saying, web APIs are browser APIs. They are natively found on the browser. So it means that when I build a web API, I am not only improving, when I use a web API, right, I'm not only improving my code. So I'm not just improving my code, I'm also improving the web. That's the idea of progression on the web. The fact that for everything that you do to improve the web, you're not only, so everything I'm going to be talking about today is not just to improve your browser, but to improve the web. Now you might be asking this question, that why is there so much focus on the web? I'm sure that, because right now the focus is just AI. But do you know that more than 70% of the things that you do are done via the web? Even the models that everybody's jumping out to build, which I'm going to still talk about, do you know that you have to access them via the web? So it is very important that we improve the web as much as it's possible. Okay, so I'm still on this. Next. Okay. All right, I'm just going to list these few features of progressive web apps, but this is not my focus. It looks like everybody here knows what they are. So the benefits of progressive web apps, the fact that you can view them on any browser, responsive to every device, and a lot of other things, like you can install them. You can actually install them via Play Store and Apple Store, and you can download them directly from your browser. And you can do every other thing here. They are highly secured. So basically, you cannot actually build a progressive web app without HTTPS. I've seen someone else that is pressing phone. He's wearing a black top and his singlet string small. He's wearing glasses, but he's still not looking at me. He's on this line like this. You. I summon you. Come and join me. Let's put our hands together. Come and join me, come and join me, come and join me. He doesn't want to come. Hey, okay. And this is just one. The next one, I'll come myself to carry you. So you're not going to tell me you not to show up here. You must show face. All right. All right. The next thing is just similarities between progressive web apps and native web apps. Like the differences, like the fact that progressive web apps are cross-platform. You can use JavaScript to build them. They are low cost. You can install them if you want to, and you don't also need to install them if you do not want to. They are faster. They have faster UIs, low data consumption, and all of that. Meanwhile, for native apps like your normal mobile apps, you have to install them. You have to put them on Play Store. For every update, you have to rebuild an SDK and all of that, because I don't want to stay here. All right, so the 4 things that you need to build a progressive web app, like the application shell architecture, transport layer, security, service worker, and manifest.json. Next slide. Just a sample of a manifest.json file. Next slide. All right, great. So I purposely skipped the other slides because I purposely rushed through them because I am not focusing on progressive web apps. I'm focusing on web APIs, on web assembly, on web AI. So I'm going to focus on those 3 aspects today, not progressive web apps. All right, great. So now web APIs, like I already mentioned, and we've already talked about what web APIs are. An effort to close the gap in the web's capabilities. So it means that, right, with more web APIs that are built, the more web APIs are built, the more the web is improved. Remember that I said the web was initially static, and then it moved to become interactive. Now, the major reason the web has moved from being static to being interactive is because of the web APIs. So basically, right, the perfect word to use is to say that web APIs are the backbone of web. Yeah. Like every single thing, every single improvement you have seen on the web, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, last year, like if you've seen anything that has improved or changed on the web, it is because of the web APIs. Like I mentioned, they do not only improve your code, so it's not just about you building applications. It's about you using the web and ensuring that it's more interactive and more usable for users. There are also a lot of web APIs. Like, okay, for instance, now when you need to have a meeting or a call, and then it asks you that you want access to your camera or something like that. Okay, you usually see that, right? Like you need to get in a meeting or something, or you need to send a file, and it asks you, do you want to allow access to your camera, to other devices in your system? And then you can choose yes or no. Now, that is as a result of web APIs. Okay, I want to draw this to the smallest aspect of what web APIs are. Now, when you build, okay, how many people are developers here? Upcoming developers, okay. Okay. Now, I just want to be sure that everybody here is aligning with what I want to explain. Okay. All right. So when you build web applications, I just want to draw it to the easiest and the simplest aspect of it. Now, you know that thing that they say file. You know that you can create file reader. So if you want your file to be readable, you want your file to be editable, you want to actually upload a file. Do you know what that is called? So the one that allows you to upload a file is actually called the File API. So it's as simple as that. Like it goes down to, I've seen someone that is gisting and still wearing black. What people that are wearing black in this room? 3 now. He's sitting down here, second seat. You, I summon you. Come and join me. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. Like I was saying, it comes down to the simplest thing. It comes down to the simplest thing, and the simplest thing can be uploading a file. Like I said, it's called the File API. Another simple thing can be allowing the file to be writable. You know that you can upload a file and edit it, right? Like if I upload an image, let me say I can use a file system access API to edit the file. Now it's also an API where you see something like file reader or file edit, something like that. It's also an API. And then you know that I can also build like graphics on the web using the web GPU API. And then I want to also run down to something called the web RTC. Now the web RTC is, the full meaning of web RTC is web real-time communication. Sites like, this next slide, sites like, just go to the next slide. It's okay. No, please go back to that slide. Just thank you. It's okay. Now, like I said, web RTC. Now, sites like Google Meet, Zoom, and whichever real-time communication network that you know of, they were all built with the web RTC. So it means that anybody here can build his or her own version of Google Meet. Anybody here can build his or her own version of Zoom, if you like. If I build an application and I say, okay, we want a meeting, an avenue where users can actually have meetings, you know I don't have to write boiler code from scratch, right? I can use inbuilt APIs like the web RTC, which allows me to, I have a demo here, which I will display. And I just did like a very small mini web, I used the web RTC to build like a very small mini real-time communication network where I can have conversations with, like we can just say hi or talk to each other via the web. It's very simple using the web API. Now, another web API that I can tell you about is called the Wake Queen API. But before okay, somebody has a question. Oh. Okay, he's telling me that it's the 30 minutes, right? Okay, so I said that I was going to move to the next conversation, but I'm going to still use 5 extra minutes. No, I'm going to still use 10 extra minutes for this one. I don't care. Don't mind me, please. Okay, so before I move back to the APIs, I hope I'm not leaving anybody. There's one fine girl like this. Her hair is tinted. Her hair is tinted. She has already said smiling, so I'll stop. All right. She was pressing her phone, just on her phone. All right. So these are some of the applications that have been built via Project Fugu. What I mean by build, it means that you can use any of the APIs to build your application. And when you use a web API to build like a real-time application, you can get them featured on the Project Fugu site. So these have actually played with a lot of these apps. So you can build with these APIs. You can get them featured on this site. You can also contribute to them. Some of them are available to like are open, contributed to like open source. Not all. Some of them. And you can go ahead to build yours. It's sort of a process, but it enables the web, and you can use it locally. But I mean, you can't just push it out there. Of course, it has to go through a lot of scrutiny. And like I already mentioned, one of the reasons there's so much emphasis on the web, so they're like, and Google and Microsoft are one of the key players that enable the web. That's why you have web.dev, which is managed by Google, and a lot of other sites that might be managed by Google or Microsoft. Imagine web.dev being managed by Google. Recently, they changed the interface. Who noticed? Oh, clap for yourself, clap for yourself. Because I didn't notice they had, no, I mean, they actually told me to check. Like I got to know. If not, I also didn't like notice immediately. So before it was pushed, we just like check it and see if it's okay. So yes, web.dev is managed by Google. And there's been a lot of work to improve the web, a lot of work. Like I said, these are some of the applications that have been built via the Project Fugu. You can also check them out. Next slide. Okay, so why web APIs? Now, one of the major reasons why we need web APIs is because they empower the browser. I remember that I said that web APIs are the backbone of the web. So they enable the web. And the one exciting thing right now, one of the major work that is being done with web APIs is building on device APIs. So you should start using web APIs because it reduces the number of code you need to write. It allows you to really navigate the web better. It allows you to build more robust applications. So like I already talked about the WebRTC, and there are lots of them. Like it's not just these ones. There's also, and I think someone already mentioned the geolocation API that allows you to see location, like the longitude and latitude. And when combined with this open range or something, you should also be able to see like country, states, and all of those kind of things. Now, it's easy to use, and it gives you access to a whole world of web capabilities. Now, the next thing. All right, and another thing again is that the APIs can be accessed via the browser. All right, now, web APIs are easy to use. They are easy to use. They do not need you to integrate them. You don't need import dots, whatever. They are already dominant in your browser. They are internal. You're not purchasing them. You're not getting them from your backend developers. You do not require any third library to access them. They are seamless and easy to get, and they're also consistent and cross-platform. Means you can use them on any platform that. So these are a few of the web APIs like WebRTC, Web Bluetooth API, WebXR, WebSocket API, Push API, Web Share, Geolocation API, Web NFC API, Web Payment API, ScreenWake API, and Web Codes API. So these are just a few APIs on the web. I know that a lot of you have been doing push notification via the web. As a result of the push notification API, a lot of you have been using Service Worker. Now, the Service Worker you know for offline capabilities that allows you to catch data or even allows you to enable push notifications, right? They're all web APIs. And then we have the WebSocket API. We have WebXR. The WebXR allows you to do like virtual reality on the web. Then we have the Web Bluetooth. Then there's also the Web Share. The Web Share acts for people that use Android phones. The Web Share acts like the Xender. It allows you to move files from one device to another. So that's how the Web Share works. And then you have the Geolocation API. The geolocation allows you to display latitude, longitude, and whatever it is that you need. and then you have the web payments. So like you have Google Pay, Apple Pay, they all use the web payments API. Then the ScreenWake API. ScreenWake API allows you to, so if my system is going off, ScreenWake API can allow me enable my screen, like continuously show up. And then we have the web codes API, and there are lots more APIs. Okay. So this is just a small demo of how the real-time communication API works. It's like for video, for audio. Just go to the next slide. Now go to the next slide, please. All right, so this is just one demo that I did. I was trying to test it, and I was like, hello, hi. You don't need to see my hello, hi. So I was trying to test. I was like, hello, hi. I just did something like a very small WebRTC API there. Please go to the next slide. And I forgot to also mention that you don't need a lot to build with web APIs. Your normal JavaScript, your frameworks, your index.js, index.html, whatever it is that you use for your normal applications. Just all you need to do is to call them. So when you write, you just call them the way you call normal web builds functions. You know the way you have your stop propagation, start propagation. That's the way you have your RTC connection. You have your file reader and a lot of them. So you just basically call them into your application. And I forgot to mention that one of the reasons why web APIs are built in JavaScript is because JavaScript is the language of the web, right? However, there's a lot of work that is going on right now to ensure that Flutter also becomes very, very cross-platform. So now you can also build cross-platform applications with Flutter and actually build like progressive applications with Flutter as well. But JavaScript is the language of the web, so the web APIs are found using JavaScript. So it's majorly when you're writing JavaScript that you are able to enable the web APIs, most of them. Okay, so I have a few more minutes left. Please just go to the next slide. Yes, so the ScreenWake API is available on these browsers. Remember I told you about the baseline project? Yeah, it's available on those browsers. All right, so I want to quickly jump to the next thing, which is WebAssembly. So I'm not going to take long on WebAssembly. Now, WebAssembly, it just enables web applications work faster. So it improves the performance of web applications, basically. That's just all that not just all, actually. Like Figma Web, do you know that Figma is built on using WebAssembly? Basically, Figma is extremely large. Like, it contains a lot of graphics, right? But it can still run on your browser. But have you also noticed that Figma has been faster for people that design? Have you also noticed that Figma has been faster over let's say in a year or two? Okay, you want to say something? Okay, you said yes, you've noticed. Okay, yes, it's been faster in this short period, and that is majorly because there has been a lot of improvements on WebAssembly. Now, what WebAssembly does, I don't want you to think of it as Docker. So it's a container-like that is built using native code, like C++ and Rust. Now, what happens is that when you build on WebAssembly, it allows you access to native features like high performance and speed majorly, and a lot of other things that you are able to do with WebAssembly. Now, WebAssembly is one aspect of the web that, if utilized properly, yes, progressive web apps would run at a very, very amazing speed. At a very amazing speed. I have a few minutes. I want to move to the next thing. Okay. And WebAssembly is usually called, just go to the next. WebAssembly is usually called WASM. So it's usually called WASM. All right, go to the next slide. Everybody here knows what Project IDX is? Project IDX. All right, so Project IDX is an IDE by Google that allows you It allows you basically to have access to templates like React, Python, and the rest of them. So you don't need to do create React app. And it also has AI inbuilt in it. So using Project IDX allows you. You're driving me before it's time. So using Project IDE allows you to use the browser. So use your IDE with a lot of API integrations and also with templates. All right, so now I want to jump quickly to the next thing I said I was going to talk about in this session, and that is the future of the web. So the next thing I want to just quickly rush on. I know she's already getting up. So the future of the web. How many people have been thinking about that recently? Like are we all web developers here? So how many people, okay, whichever one, whether you're a web or whatever you are, how many people have been thinking about their future? If you've not been thinking about your future, are you coding at all? Let me see. How many people have been thinking about their future as developers or designers or whatever because of AI? Okay. All right, so that's just something I just want to quickly talk about. Now, I just quickly named it the future of the web because I want to say that as web developers that you are, ensure that you expand your scope, right? Ensure that you are flexible. Ensure that you do not remain where you are. And in a short while from now, like I was telling someone recently, by next year, when they ask you that, can you build an application that allows you to use Gemini APIs or GPT APIs and remodel them, and you say no, then you are making a mistake as a developer. So it's not about being an AI developer or an ML developer or a data scientist. It's about allowing yourself to understand the trends in technology. Now, learning how to remodel models, do you know that remodeling these things are very easy? You don't have to switch from being a web developer. You just have to allow yourself to be expanded. You have to allow yourself to know more things. So this is just what I would drop here for everybody. Learn as much as you can. Learn how to fine-tune models. Learn how to remodel them. There are many ways you can remodel. There's prompting, fine-tuning. There's, I think there's domain specialization. There's also retraining. I'm not saying that you should leave what you're currently doing. Just ensure that you're adding these skills to your skill set so that you do not become, so that as technology is improving, you're also moving with these things. Every single person that wants to build an application, even you want to use AI in it. Am I correct? There's somebody at the front, she's dozing up. I wish I had a phone. Every single person that wants to build an application now wants to use AI. So just allow yourself to be expanded, allow yourself to learn, and allow yourself to just really know what's up, right? By next year, like I said, by this time next year, if you are still stuck in not knowing, if you're still stuck in thinking that you have to move from being a web developer to becoming an AI developer, before you understand how to fine-tune models, how to retrain models, then you are making a mistake. Because you'd become, there's this word that they use. Like, yes, you'd have, but if you are able to learn as you move, if you're able to learn as you move, the future of technology is never leaving. It's always going to be there. But it's you that needs to change. It's you that needs to improve. It's you that needs to go, learn the technologies, learn how to use them, so that people that are just coming up or just starting as AI developers will just take the things that you would normally be able to do very easily. Like I said, fine-tuning models are so easy. But how many people have tried it before? Many people have tried to fine-tune models or retrain a model. So there's Vertex AI. You can use it as a playground. Just play around with that. These things they're so easy. Like, I'm telling you, very, very easy. Prompting is even the easiest. It's just for it to be writing. But fine-tuning is so easy because all you need to do is to give it actual data that it uses to... Fine-tuning just means that you are tweaking it to look like what you want, right? And then there's also domain specialization and a lot of other ways you can remodel and do other things using artificial intelligence. And then the last thing, I'm going to give her one side eye now because I'm taking a few more minutes. And then the last thing that I want to do here is questions and answers. Please, do you have any questions to throw in quickly before I leave? Okay, please just scream it where you are.
Sorry, my question is, what are the challenges you face actually when using web APIs? You know, and for people that are not using it before, want to actually convert, start using it, what are the advantage and ways you can make it easy for
Okay, so he is asking for the challenges of using web APIs. Now, the first thing is, I want to say that, remember I said that they are easy to use. The challenges would be that you don't know them. First of all, you don't even know how to use them. So now, there's something, I wanted to do a very small demo. She's doing her. So I wanted to do a small demo showing you how to use the web RTC. Now, when you're using the web RTC, for instance, now you don't know that you need to call the RTC connection. You don't know that you also need to use a WebSocket. This is like the major challenge of using a web API. Now, how do you cope this challenge? There are documentations for every API, right? Before you even use them, there's something that's been written for each of them. So, first of all, you need to just know what these web APIs are. Then, when you have need for any of them, you can just read through the documentation and make use of them. I want to take 2 more questions before I go. One more question, the last one. Last one. The web.dev. Yes. So web APIs are free. They are in your browser. You're not paying for any of them. Like, they're already found in your code. So you're not paying. It's not like external APIs or backend APIs. They're already inbuilt in your browser. So basically, they are built to improve the browser. They improve the browser and they improve your applications. So they are free to use, they are easily accessible, and they are always accessible. Thank you.